For me, I need a good bottle of wine. I need some football on the telly. I need my family around me, and I really need crispy chicken. That's what I need. You know the sort of crispy chicken joints that you eat with potato wedges and a bit of coleslaw?
Yeah.
It's exactly what you're going to be seeing me make in a minute.
Right. For me, the perfect Saturday night-in dish has got to be Peking duck. Now, I'm going with all the trimmings. I've got a good duck here. I'm going to make my plum sauce from scratch as well with some spices. But, you know, this is something where you can, you know, have friends over Saturday night in, ultimate, treat them to a gorgeous dish like this. OK, fine. So what do you start with? I mean, this is different to crispy aromatic duck. That is essentially Cantonese-style duck that you see hanging in a lot of the Chinese restaurants. And then that's deep-fried, so you've got the lovely crispy skin. Okay, what I want to do is just basically get a good carving fork and just poke little holes into the skin like this. And this is going to help make the skin just a bit more thinner and crispy.
You're going right through the skin, are you?
Yes, going right through, yes. All over like that. This is a good duck. This is, it's a half-breed, half Ellsbury and half Gressingham duck. It doesn't have too much fat. OK, so it means that it's going to be easy for us to get the skin nice and thin and quite crisp. But you can also go for the sort of fat Peking duck, Peking bird, if you like, and that's going to have a nice layer of skin. And actually, the Chinese love that. They love fat underneath the skin. It's very, very good. OK, so this is slightly, you know, healthier.
Ching then adds 2 tablespoons of rice wine to boiling water and plunges the duck in the water to tighten the skin. She then pats it dry so it's ready for the next stage.
What we want to do, you hook it over a sink, you know, overnight in a very, very dry place. And I've got one done already.
Right.
Because, you know, in China and Beijing, what they would do, they just hang it out of the windows.
On the washing line.
On the washing line. And because it's very windy, you know, it just air dries it.
Ching then takes a duck that has been hung for 24 hours and stuffs the cavity with sliced ginger.
OK, now at this stage, I'm going to season it. So I need here some Chinese 5-spice.
Right.
Now, this is a wonderful seasoning. And also some ground white pepper, mixed in with about 1/4 teaspoon with salt, just cracked sea salt. So basically, you just rub it all on the outside, so coat it well. And then, of course, on the inside as well, because that's going to be wonderful.
The duck goes into the oven for an hour and a half at 180 degrees. Time to prepare her plum sauce.
So basically, water simmering in with 1 star anise. And again, it's got a lovely aniseedy flavour and aroma. In with, this is really extravagant, this is cinnamon bark.
Oh, beautiful.
You can use cassia bark if you want.
Wow,
I don't need a whole, you know, chunk of it.
Right.
I needed a little bit to flavour.
Such a beautiful bark, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Let's just break that in. So I've got here about 2 plums that are ripe, and I've just de-stoned them.
Have you skinned them as well?
And skinned them. So about 2 plums in there. In with some ginger, maybe a teaspoon in there. Lovely. And then some Chinese 5-spice, about 1/2 teaspoon in there. And then some dark muscovado sugar. I'm just going to put in about 1 tablespoon in there.
To give the sauce colour, Ching adds dark soy sauce and leaves it to simmer, whilst Paul gets started on his fried chicken.
Now, there is a very well-known purveyor of crispy chicken out there on the high street.
OK.
And I was stood in the queue once, and a bloke rumbled me and went, "Oi, mate, shouldn't you be making your own?" And I felt so embarrassed that I walked out the shop with my children, crying by now, and went home and did make my own. And
you were rumbled?
In fact, yeah, I was rumbled. So I developed my own secret spices for this.
OK.
The first thing to do is choose your chicken. Now, I'm using thighs and drumsticks only. I'm not using any breast, OK? I'm just going to drop them one by one into some boiling water. And they're going to cook right through in there.
Yeah, this is unusual to sort of pre-cook the chicken like this.
Well, if you were to fry the chicken from raw, by the time you've got it safely cooked right through, because you've got to be a little bit careful with chicken, the outside would be so crispy. I don't think you'd actually get your teeth through it. So by doing it this way, you're just going to have that lovely melting chicken inside a crispy case. And there's a huge bonus here. What I'm actually making there, without even knowing it, is a fantastic chicken stock.
To give the stock more flavour, Paul adds thyme and a garlic clove and then leaves to simmer for 30 minutes. He then moves on to his potatoes, which he starts by cutting into wedges.
Right, OK, so cut our wedges. I'm going to throw those into a bowl. And I'm going to pour over a little bit of oil, just a light olive oil.
OK.
There we go. And then I'm going to add some cracked black pepper.
OK.
And I'm guessing about I don't know, 2/3 of a teaspoon, that sort of amount. Just sprinkle that over. And some cayenne pepper. There we go, full teaspoon of that.
Quite spicy, I love cayenne.
It is quite spicy, but actually the spices will mellow in the oven. So it's best to go overboard with the spices and let it sort of pull back in the oven. And then that smoked paprika, which is a real winning ingredient. In you go, a good old mix around. Okay. Make sure they're all nicely coated with a bit of everything. There we go. Right, now, in the oven, I've got a hot tray, and all that does is just speeds up the cooking process a little bit and helps them stay really, really crispy.
The wedges go onto the hot tray and into the oven for 25 minutes at 190 degrees. Ching is confident that her indulgent Peking duck is the ultimate dish for a Saturday night in, whereas Paul is hoping the judges are up for getting their hands dirty with his finger-licking chicken.